What's up, everyone? Welcome back. This is Strange Planet, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about upcoming movies that are coming out basically for the rest of this year. And we're going to decide whether or not we're going to see them in theaters or if we're going to wait till they come out. And I guess to jump right in, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming out early May, I want to say. I think it's like May 5th or something. And they're saying it's going to possibly stick as a trilogy. So I don't know what's going to be coming in the future for the series. And there's plenty more to say and plenty more to do. So I highly doubt it's going to be gutted. But I got a feeling this movie might change the overall cast of the original crew. You know what I mean? So not really sure if people are going to die or what's going to go on, because obviously it's not out yet. But the first two movies were phenomenal. I'm sure you guys probably saw those. They didn't actually have names. They just go by volumes. And I thought the casting so far for all of them was perfect. You really can't get better people to either be the characters or the voices, like for Groot and Rocket's case. But what do you guys expect to see for, I guess, the Guardians 3?
Well, I mean, coming in Guardians 3, obviously are not going to have Gamora. It looks like she is going to be in it. Green Girl.
Oh, yeah, she's in it. I can understand why you'd ask why, because there's a lot of confusion, I guess, about especially how Endgame ended as to her whereabouts in general. But yeah, it turns out, I think this is a spoiler alert, I suppose. But remember the whole soul for a soul kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess when the time thing happened, obviously only one soul can be traded for the stone. So only one person could die. And you know who that was. It wasn't, I mean, I guess the first time around it was her, but this time it's not.
Right.
So it ended up being Black Widow. So she is very much alive, I guess, is the reality of it, I suppose. And if you saw the trailer, which I'm sure you did too, I forget the guy's name, but I think he was in that movie, We're the Millers. That's what the name of it was. That kid, Will Poulter, I think. He's going to be Adam Warlock. So if you remember, I think at the end of 2, there was hints and shit leading towards, you know.
Oh, that's right.
And it was Aisha, I think, that created him. So I guess the experiment's ready and he's breaking out now.
So if this is a storyline they're going with, it's going to be very, very interesting to see another new character come out.
Oh, yeah. And like, there's no telling whether he's going to necessarily be, I guess, bad or good in that aspect. But the other interesting thing is I'm unclear actually who the villain's going to be. So I'm actually kind of glad, because I don't want them to say too much in the trailer anyway. Because like you want to see X amount, maybe what's going on, some crazy scenes and stuff. But I don't like it when trailers tell you too much, because then it's just kind of like, wow, all right, well, now I don't really, you know what I mean? You watch the movie, you kind of already know what to expect, really. But the way this is working out, I like the cast, and I think everybody's looking good. There's a lot of rumors saying that they think that this could be the end of Rocket. Now, I don't know if they're really going to kill this guy, but that's the rumor. And if you see the trailer, there's like a very dramatic scene where, you know, I think it was Peter Quill screaming or something. So, like, I guess a lot of people in the scene they showed before that happen to have Rocket in it. So I guess people are speculating, saying that they think he's going to die in this movie. And I think even the director said at some point that this is going to be the last movie that you're going to see this cast as it is. So I guess some shit's going to go down, and it's possible maybe some of them will die or be sent away or something.
Why they got to go and do that, though? Like, I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 1 or 2.
I thought you saw the first one.
Nope, I have not seen either one.
Oh,
but
shit.
I did play a little bit of the game, and I liked the cast of characters. I like the vibe that was going on.
The movie's a little different. I'll give you that. I'm sure.
Is it?
Because like that, I don't think that game is based on the movie. That game is just its own thing, but it's used. Yeah, but it uses the same characters from the movies. You know what I mean? Because obviously that's still the Guardians. All
right.
five
No,
of those guys.
it just seemed very. It seemed like a game that knew like who the characters were. And,
oh yeah, and they use
their interactions with each other were just perfect in the game. So, you know, that did kind of motivate me to want to see the movies finally.
Yeah, I would recommend it because like the movies are very, very different from the game. But what the people, whoever made that game, they definitely kind of leaned on the way they made the characters in the movies for the game. So some of those snarky things that like Rocket might say or that Quill might say, you know what I mean? Like I feel like some of that is relative to they use the movies as like a foundation.
What about the voice actors?
No, they're all different.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all different. Yeah, but you can tell when you watch the movie, and then because you've played the game first, so when you watch the movie, you're gonna see how they kind of mirrored that part. But as far as like the story and the plot and everything else, yeah, no, that game is its own thing, and the movies are another. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're not connected really whatsoever. Especially with this third one coming out, because this is interesting to see, because the first two that came out were all before Endgame, so that was all in that realm. You know what I mean? Of that, I guess what they call the Infinity Saga, and this is the first one outside that box. Still, I guess, made up of the same crew that they're going to now probably change. But the cool thing that 2 brought in was another whole crew led by Stallone. So I got a feeling, even though you haven't seen them in the trailer as much, I got a feeling you're going to see a lot of them in this movie. I think they call themselves the Ravagers or something. And Stallone's, I forget what his character is in the movie, or what his name was rather. But yeah, he's gonna lead that crew or whatnot, and I think they're kind of like, I guess they're good guys. And from the vibe I was getting, they didn't seem like villains. So that could change, of course, when you see the movie. And like most of those movies, always stay after the credits because they always got some kind of bridge that's gonna lead you to the next chapter. You know what I mean? I always find it funny that in those movies that people just get up and leave sometimes. I mean, maybe some people just are impatient and they'll just YouTube it later or something, but I don't know. Sometimes when you're already there, I feel like, screw it. What's another 10 minutes, right? So, like, fuck it. You know what I mean? So I'll just, might as well stick around and see what the hell it's going to bring.
Well, yeah, now you expect it anytime you see a Marvel movie. So, yeah, I don't think any Marvel fans leaving that theater.
Right. Usually that's the case, too. And it's funny because that was always something I felt like you saw more, especially like earlier on in like 2000s and even prior, that you would see more in video games than in movies. That there would be like a post-credit scene that's going to tie into the next. But then, yeah, like 2008 came and Iron Man with Robert Downey just started this whole new saga, like in theaters. It was like basically a show, but only in theaters. You know what I mean? So they were just movies rather than like 10 episodes a season or whatnot. And they always had some kind of cliffhanger at the end. And then on top of that, there was always something after the post-credits that either fed on what you already saw in that other post-credit scene, or it just was maybe a spoof or a joke or something, because they did do a few of those as well. Yeah, I'm going to say, just for record, I'm definitely going to watch it. Saw the first 2, so I'm definitely going to watch the third, and I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
I absolutely will see the third. They haven't disappointed yet, so.
Right.
Yeah, I'll definitely see it after I see the first 2.
Yeah, I would recommend it. The chemistry with the characters, too, is what's really something to observe when you're watching it too, because it's very interesting how they.
If it's anything like the game, I'm down to see that.
Oh, it is like the way they joke on each other and shit like that too.
Right.
It's like I said, the story and the plot is entirely, something else. But yeah, like you'll see the relevances between the two, but they are very, different, obviously.
What about the basic premise?
No, the villains in the movies aren't even in that game.
Okay, but
yeah,
all right. They fly around space on a spaceship together.
Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, that's still a thing. Yeah, actually, if you remember, what do you call it? If you remember Mass Effect, remember like the Normandy?
Yeah,
that's kind of like Quill's ship, in a sense.
Right.
So it does have some similarities like that, I guess. But like, don't go into the movie thinking it's going to be a lot like the plot of the game, because the game is like its own story. But yeah, like Mark said too, like they haven't disappointed yet. I thought both of the first 2 were phenomenal. So I think this one's going to probably be just as good, if not better. And I guess moving on.
That one for you. So sticking with the Marvel Universe, have you seen the movies with Wesley Snipes' Blade?
Oh, yeah.
All 3 of them. Yeah, oh yeah.
So, all right, they're coming out with a new one in 2024, but Wesley Snipes is not playing the role of Blade.
It's Mahershala Ali, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. He is going to be playing Blade. Now, If I am not mistaken, I don't know who's producing this, but if it is Disney, and he's going to be part of the Marvel universe itself as well.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting to see. Is he going to interact with the Avengers at any point? Is it going to be more like he's a background character, kind of like what they're doing with Daredevil?
No, I think he's gonna. I think what they're doing. I mean, of course, this is speculation talk, but I think they want to like kind of introduce the whole concept of like vampires and stuff into the whole realm of what they've started over the past decade or so. You know what I mean? So I think bringing him in, kind of like they did with that Werewolf by Night. I don't know if you saw that, but that was pretty dope too. And I didn't think that was going to be that good, but that actually, and there was a cameo in that from something dating way back to 2008. That was kind of unexpected, but definitely pretty dope. I don't know if you saw Man Thing, but it was interesting what they did with that. But as far as Blade goes, I think they want the vampire thing to kind of come in. So I'm assuming, I don't know if he's going to be an Avenger or whatnot. I mean, it's possible, I suppose.
Well, no. I don't think he'll be an Avenger, but I'm saying like him interacting with the rest of the universe, like Deadpool, or if God forbid, make Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I want to say that you're probably right. I want to say that, they're going to mix the pot up. Yeah, they're going to put him in. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember what movie it was, but it was a recent movie. I almost want to say it was the newest Thor movie. There was like a post-credit scene, almost like we were just talking before, where I think you heard a voice, but you didn't see a face. But I'm pretty sure that voice was Blade.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know that for a fact, but I could be mistaken. But I forget. I want to say it was Thor, like the post-credits, but I'm not. I could be messing the movie up. So like, don't hold me to that.
Newest one?
The Love and Thunder one, yeah.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it was the post-credit scene at the end of the Eternals movie. I'm pretty sure that's it. And I remember there was a leak. Like, he definitely, like, you didn't see anybody, but you heard a voice. And I thought it was Blade, to tell you the truth. That's who I thought it was.
So, if you want to move on, I do have another one. So, getting off Marvel for a second, they have a couple of interesting sequels coming out, but I'm going to choose this one, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which would be the 5th in the series.
It's supposedly going to be the last, I think, too, right?
Well, supposedly in the trailers, he's retiring from doing what he does. So,
well, I mean, how old is Harrison Ford now? Like, he ain't gonna be around much longer.
Right.
So, I hate to say it, but
I know what you're saying, though. Yeah, like, I mean,
yeah,
how many more of those can you do, too? You know,
they're gonna have to plan for if they continue the series, they're gonna have to plan for some way for it to continue without him. You know, pass the baton to somebody.
The interesting thing about you bringing up Indiana Jones was apparently the past Academy Awards that just happened. I forget the actor's name, but that's, you know what? Let me double check. But the little kid that was in like one of the original ones.
Oh, he won an Oscar.
Yeah, which is crazy because you figure that was like, God, what, about 30 years ago, maybe even longer.
Yeah, and there's a huge story behind it because he dropped out of acting, not by choice, but because like he couldn't get any roles. Pretty much after everything he did from like the Goonies and the Indiana Jones movies, you know, maybe he had one or two other things, but like it dropped out for him. So he kind of got discouraged and packed it away. And eventually, at some point recently, before the movie that he did, he decided he was going to throw his hat back into the ring. He built himself up again. You know, he felt good, and he went out and he got that role, and fuck it, he got an Oscar for it.
His name is Quan, is his last name, and he was Short Round. That's what it was.
Uncle Jones.
Well, now the question is, further talk too, going back to Blade, the new one, I'm definitely going to see that one as well. As far as this one goes, do you guys plan on watching it?
Probably not theatrical, like go see it in the theater. I'll definitely watch it if it comes on, like, Netflix or television or whatever, viewing.
Yeah, whatever platform has it. And I'm kind of with you on that. I don't know if that's a theatrical release for me either.
So, like, would you rather see that in the theater, or would you rather see like Fast and Furious 10 coming out?
And that's another one that I'm kind of, over the years, I kind of slipped up and fell off it. Like, I don't know, there's just only so much racing and drama and then racing again. And I don't know. After a while, I just got sick of it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But like some of them are still pretty good, I guess. But like, I don't know. I still think the worst one out of that whole franchise is probably the third one. But like,
Is that
Oh,
the Tokyo Drift one?
yeah, I don't know. There's just something it was just so cheesy and corny to me, that third one, that I feel like it just ruined it.
It didn't have Paul Walker or Vin Diesel, so spoiler alert: Vin
Vin
Diesel did
Diesel.
have a little cameo at the end.
Yeah,
if
he
you
showed
see
up.
them by now, you're lost. All right, the movie's what 2 years old at this point.
Just don't see that movie; you'll be disappointed.
Yeah, it's just corny too.
Uh,
Like the thing that got me about that movie that I thought was probably so stupid was just like
who was that main character that was supposed to be, the substitute for Paul Walker?
I know who you're talking about, that
Yeah,
southern
he was the kid. Yeah,
Yeah, that
like,
southern kid. And that was
come
not a
on.
good way to go either, I felt like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then he had to move to like Japan. I don't know, just I felt like they decided to do something entirely different, which I'm not against, but like they didn't really have anybody in it from the original series, so it didn't feel like it was connected. And then to make matters worse, I just felt like the whole concept of the build up towards the end was just stupid. Because like they were dealing with triads and stuff, and you're gonna tell me that these mob bosses are gonna settle their beefs with their kids racing cars and drifting cars? Get the fuck out of here with that. You know what I mean? Like that.
Weren't they like Yakuza?
Yeah, it was some gang affiliation. But you mean to tell me that that's the way they're gonna handle the business, by letting these kids just drag race? You know what I mean? It just seems so out of place and stupid. They would have shot them and called it a day, realistically. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't have been a movie if that was the case.
I don't know. I feel like Yakuza are like, kind of stylish in that regard. Just from what I've played in like video games and shit. I don't know the real Yakuza,
But if it's a gang, I don't think that they're gonna play racing as like, you know what I
I
mean?
don't know.
I mean, I guess it's possible. Anything's possible, I suppose. But it just seemed corny to me. I don't know. The couple before it, and there was like a few after it, and like those were okay. I watched a couple of those, but sometime between like, I want to say 5, maybe 6 or 7. I don't. There's 10 now, right? I fell off somewhere between I think 7 or 8, and then they made like spin-offs and shit, and then like The Rock took over and tried to take it for himself.
I'll tell you the truth. Like, I stopped watching Fast and the Furious when Paul Walker died. I couldn't. I was like, you know what? I'm so upset at that I don't even want to watch his last movie, because then I know it's like over. I was just like, you know what? That was like a series that like, that shit came out when we were in high school, and like, that just always brought me good memories. And to die like that in the middle of making a movie, and then they had to like get his brothers to finish it. And that was good that they did that, but I just couldn't bring myself to watch it, because that would kind of like confirm that era of the series was over.
Yeah, I definitely hear that, because like he made the series. If you think about it, it was him and Vin Diesel. I mean, Tyrese played a good role in the second one for a while, and then he kind of carried on. Then Ludacris was in that one too, I think, which was cool.
Yeah.
But like they were like the originators. So if you take I think they were still in it, of course, as the movies developed. But I know what you mean. When you take the main guy, once like that's a very fucked up event that happened. That sucks what happened with him. But when he's no longer a part of it, you kind of feel like the franchise just won't be the same. You know what I mean? Like it's just
like just for me, like I just didn't want to see it, because that would be like the series is going in a completely different direction, because it was very Paul Walker centered as the main character of the series.
Ex-cop, I think he was, or something.
Right.
Or
he was a cop in the first one. He was undercover the entire time.
Right.
And, even as a viewer, you kind of knew this, but like you didn't really know how this thing was going to turn out. And at the end of the movie, he let Dom go, and like he turned out he was more of an outlaw than he originally thought.
Right, and that's the other guy I meant to bring up, Vin Diesel.
Right, Vin Diesel. Like, they formed a friendship, and like Vin Diesel got pissed when he found out he was a cop, and it took a while for him to trust him, even because he was dating his sister and everything. So it was there's a whole dynamic. But then to throw on top of that, at the end of the movie, he finds out he's a cop. And so, that's the whole dynamic that started off this series. And, without that dynamic of Paul Walker, he's, a cop and then an ex-cop, and then how, he is sort of like on one side of the law and then the other. I think like after probably the fifth movie, maybe fifth or sixth movie, I forget which one was his last movie. But I remember in the fifth one, it was like it turned into more of an action movie, I guess. It's an action series now rather than drag racing. Now, what the fifth one did was, they still made cars like a very important part of it. They had action scenes with cars, a lot of, but they threw a whole lot of other, type of action into it, like guns, and it was just like very over the top and
got dramatic too. Got very, very.
Yeah, I liked it. It was just a little different, but I still liked it. But if you take out Paul Walker, I think that
it's a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, what originally drew me to the series, like that dynamic between him and Dom, like
I could agree with you on that.
I didn't look forward to the end of that.
Yeah, that's what kind of drew me to watch the first couple, and that's why I thought maybe the third one would be cool. But then you watch the third one, and no one's really even in it for the first two. So I was like, what the fuck?
It was, the third one was a letdown, but it was entertaining. I sat through the movie. I wasn't bored.
No, I guess that's true. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been movies I've seen that are worse.
Yeah, I wasn't bored, but it just Fast and Furious without Paul Walker and Vin Diesel, I just don't see it. I just don't buy it.
Now, the final question would be, he brought up going way back to, the Fast and the Furious 10. Do you plan on seeing it?
I don't plan on seeing it, at least not right away. I haven't seen, like I said, I haven't seen the movies leading up to it in terms of the one that Paul Walker died filming and the ones after that. So I would have to go and see those first to catch up on what's going on. And I don't know that I'll do that in time to see the 10th movie in theaters. I'm sure I'll catch up later on when it's streaming.
Probably already out. Yeah.
But as of now, I don't plan to see it probably this year.
I probably don't either. I can agree with you on that. I will see it at some point, but once again, I don't think that's going to be a movie that for me is going to be a theatrical release.
I saw the first 5 in theaters.
Oh shit, you saw the first 5, really?
Yeah.
I only saw the first 2, then I skipped 3, ended up seeing that later on, and then I think I might have seen 4 in theaters, which is the one that kind of integrated all of them back. And I think, was it Michelle?
Michelle Rodriguez?
Yeah, Michelle Rodriguez, which is the one that she supposedly died in.
I think she supposedly died in 4.
Okay. That's the last one that I saw in theaters then. It is that one.
She showed up in 5, I believe.
Right. And then she turned out she wasn't really dead or whatever.
Right.
She was like brainwashed or something. So I did see 5, that means too. All right. But yeah, I definitely didn't see it in theaters. I'm almost 100% on that.
Well, I'm not going to watch the theatrical release of it. I mean, I too will have to catch up because I think I stopped at either 5 or 6. I can't remember at this point because it's just like it's all a blur.
Yep, I feel you on that.
I think I've seen one with The Rock. I think there was 2 with The Rock. There was one where they first introduced him as the cop. And I think the one after that, he was kind of like specifically working with them or something to that effect.
I think you're right, too. Yeah, and I think I might have even seen that one. So that means there is another one I saw. But like I said, too, just like you guys, I'm definitely missing a few in between. So I probably will watch those before I watch 10. So I don't know if I'm going to do that in time for 10, but it'll, happen at some point, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Just it's, not on top of the list, I suppose.
One of the downsides of the whole series is like you're in this situation where you want to like catch up and watch the new movie, but you really want to start back from the beginning and watch the old movies and like go through it so you can get to the whole timeline again. But I don't know. I don't know if I could watch the old movies and see Paul Walker again and then like know that he's just not going to be in the other movies.
And that's a blow too. It is, because he, like I said before, he kind of like made these movies in a sense too. They would have never made it this far if it wasn't for like him and Vin Diesel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess moving on, I'm going to bring it to something that just came out last week, and I saw it listed here. They decided to finally make a suitable Mario Brothers movie, I guess. Now, of course, this one's animated, unlike the one in the 90s. But the one thing I'll say, just from seeing the trailer, I didn't see the movie. It's in theaters now, for those that don't know. And also for, those of you that are listening, you could always leave a comment or so and let us know what you think of some of these movies as well. But will I see the Mario one in theaters? I mean, probably not. But I do plan on seeing that one. I'm not going to lie, because it definitely looks better than the one in the 90s. I'm not sure if you guys saw that abomination, but
yeah, it was like the only good thing about that was like John Leguizamo.
Pretty much. That was like the best we had then at that time too. You know what I mean? That was like what, an early mid-90s movie. So that was the best they had at that point, and it was such a shitty movie.
Yeah,
I hate to say it.
I never understood it. Like, I just I don't know what they were going for in terms of the character design.
Right?
In terms of like the Koopas. And,
the Goombas were like, they're supposed to be these little things, and they're giants in the movie. It's like the opposite.
I just don't know what type of, like, whoever came up with the design of the costumes or whatever the fuck they put on. No, they should never work in Hollywood again. I hope they haven't.
They almost destroyed that from ever happening again. It was so bad. I felt like too, because Bowser was a human. You realize that? Like, they didn't have a suit for the guy. He was a human.
I think one of the hugest disappointments of the whole Super Mario Bros. Movie is we had seen Ninja Turtles 3 years before that movie came out, and Ninja Turtles live action was amazing.
That did work.
Like, the first one was great. The second one was getting off, and the third one was horrible.
Third one was horrible, but I thought the first two were good. The second one was pretty good too.
The first one really blew my mind away, that they were able to take my favorite cartoon characters and put them in a real life kind of movie situation. And I wanted so bad for the Super Mario Bros. Movie to be good, because it took my favorite video game characters and put them on the live screen with real human beings. And John Leguizamo did kind of carry the movie. Bob Hopkins, as Mario, kind of did a little bit too, but
that worked. Yeah, I suppose that was a good casting call. Yeah, Bob Hoskins. Yeah, that worked. But then you had
right?
He died. Yeah, a couple of years back. But then you had, what do you call it, playing Bowser was Dennis Hopper.
I mean, maybe voice of an animatronic suit would have been fine, but to be oh yeah, we're lizards, but we're just evolved. The whole premise of the movie was horrible.
Right, and then that's the thing. It was all about lizards and shit, and it had no relevance to the game whatsoever. It made no sense. It's like they took the characters and then just was made up some fantasy storyline and threw them in there. And the even funnier part was, I didn't realize this till years later, the original, I guess, Princess Peach, her name is, she wasn't even in the movie. Some other princess called Daisy was in it.
Yeah, Princess Daisy.
Yeah, Daisy.
Isn't that was that Luigi's wife there? Or
actually, believe it or not, Luigi's wife is Peach.
Luigi's is Peach?
No fucking way.
I thought Mario's was Peach.
In the Mario games Galaxy, there is a character called Luna, which is supposedly a future being from the Mario universe that comes to help them save planets, because it's supposed to be a 3D Mario game where you're on different planets. It's kind of cool. But you break down Luna, she has the characteristics of Peach and Luigi, not Peach and Mario. Certain, her ears are drawn, and so on and so forth. So it's rumored that she's the daughter of Peach and Luigi, not Peach and Mario. Because Daisy, I believe, is supposed to be Mario's girlfriend.
Right, no, but Daisy's been in Mario games.
She has, now that I'm thinking about it. You're right. She definitely has.
Been in Mario Kart and Mario Party, I think.
She originally was, I think, the Donkey Kong character's girl.
Okay. I mean, Mario was originally a Donkey Kong character.
That's true, too.
So that may be where that comes from.
Maybe Daisy was the original Peach.
That's possible, too, I suppose. But I'll say one thing with this new movie and the way it looks, and even with the casting, like I think it's going to be pretty damn good, and I think it's doing very well in the theaters right now, especially for the box office. I think Illumination or something is one of the companies that helped develop the animation and stuff. I think it was their second biggest movie ever, so they're doing it right now. So I'm assuming this is working. And if you're going to compare it to the first one, it's way better just by visuals, just by looking at it. Now, of course, it's animated and the other one was live action, but this one seems like it's more on the money overall. And they even added from the trailer that I saw like elements of like Mario Kart in it. And you definitely didn't get that in the first one. So, you know what I mean? So as far as I'm concerned, this is the first one, and that one doesn't even exist really. But
well, in the first game, in the first movie, it's so much harder to be able to do things that you can do in like animation. And
True.
while I know this movie is going to be good, and I will watch it, I'm a little disappointed that they weren't able to do it live action. But I get with the limitations, it's going to be hard to try to do a live action movie of fucking Mario.
Yeah, I mean they managed to do one of Sonic, so
that's true. They did do
and
that.
I'll say this, the Sonic movie, I kind of laughed at the fact that Jim Carrey played Dr. Eggman, and then I saw the movie.
And it worked.
He did a great job.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how good he did at being Eggman. So,
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I was the biggest Sonic fan growing up. I was definitely Sega over Nintendo.
No kidding.
I played like every Sonic game pretty much.
Must be my Italian roots, but I was Mario.
I have not seen any of the Sonic movies, either of them.
I saw the first one, but I didn't see the second one yet. But I heard good things about it, so I'm sure it's probably good.
It was very well received.
The third one though.
And yeah, I heard there's a third one too. There's another one coming as well.
They're supposed to bring in Shadow, it looks like.
Yeah, because like Knuckles came in the second one, right? I think.
Yeah, I believe so.
Because I didn't see it, but I remember the trailer. I remember seeing him in it, so I was like, "Oh shit! All right, well at least they're building on that. That's kind of cool." But yeah, I guess like he was saying, that Rook was saying he was definitely more of a Sonic fan. I was probably at that point much more of a Mario. Not that I had anything against Sonic, but I was always probably more of a Mario Brothers. And that's just not my Italian roots talking, but it is what it is.
I just love like the speed and I don't know. It was just like collecting the rings. It was I don't know. That was my shit.
I will admit, playing Sonic games was fun, especially when you found out you can unlock Supersonic.
Collecting the Chaos Emeralds, and then they had the Super Emeralds, which made you hypersonic. So you had to like collect them over the course of the game. But like if you had Sonic and Knuckles and you plugged it into Sonic 2 or Sonic 3, you could play through that whole thing as Knuckles or even Tails. Because I don't think you could play through as Tails in Sonic 2, maybe? I know you had Tails follow you, and, if you had a second player, you could have them follow you. But if you had Sonic and Knuckles and put in Sonic 2, then you had, you could play all the characters. And, that was a really innovative technology for back in the day.
Right. And that's another thing, too, that you have to keep in mind. Yeah, the first Mario Brothers probably did suck. But, granted, the time period it came out and stuff, they were very limited to what they could probably even do.
Right.
I mean? So,
it came out. I mean, they had Ninja Turtles, and, like, that did a much better job. So.
Right. But I think the irony, too, about when that movie came out, I think a lot of people thought, because you have to keep in mind, this is like before the internet and everything. When that movie came out, I think a lot of people thought it might be animated. And then when they found out it was live action, I don't know how that floated in the water there, but then when it came out, it was just so irrelevant that I think it just tanked. It just,
I'm not even sure how well it did or whatever, but like
it tanked.
It tanked. Yeah, okay. It was bad.
It did not look good.
Right,
all.
And then like
just
Bowser turned into a T-Rex at the end of it. Like it was just so ridiculous.
Oh, right.
It was just so dumb.
Who got high and wrote that script?
For real, you had to be on something for that. Maybe they were using mushrooms. I don't know.
Right.
But I guess I will see the movie, bottom line, though. This new one that came out, I don't know if I'm going to see it in theaters, but I will at some point probably see that movie. I mean, like I said, too, like just judging by how the trailer looked, it definitely looks like it's going to be better already. So I don't think it's going to suck. But moving on to the next one. On Tuesday, they released the Captain Marvel trailer. It's going to be the second one for that series. Did you guys see it?
I have not.
It seems like, it didn't paint too much, but honestly, I think it's going to be a pretty good movie. I think we're going to see. I mean, they're kind of integrating a lot into one here because it doesn't look like, just from the trailer alone, this is all speculation just from the trailer, but it looks like it's not going to be central on just, I guess, Captain Marvel as Brie Larson. It's now bringing in Monica's role, and it's bringing in, they had a series on Disney Plus. It was called Miss Marvel, and I guess she's going to be involved in it as well. But I guess we'll see what that brings. That doesn't come out till, I think, November. And you'll probably see more trailers as it develops. But if it's anything like the last one, and I'm sure it'll be pretty good. And that will probably be something else I might probably see in the theater as well. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm very far behind on my Marvel movies, so I probably will not be seeing it.
That's true. You didn't see the first one, right?
Correct.
And I'll tell you, the first one was pretty dope. I like the first one, but it also, you have to keep in mind, that kind of goes with the Infinity Saga, so that's all before.
Yeah, I'll probably need to catch up on that.
Right.
I'll probably see it. I'm pretty caught up on my Marvel stuff, so.
Yeah, so I think that's going to deserve a check. And don't forget, those of you listening, drop a line too as to whether or not you're going to watch it or whatnot, or what you think about any of this as well. And I guess moving on to the next one. Now, this next movie actually doesn't drop for quite some time, but I caught wind of it recently, and I always thought this movie specifically was long overdue. Because like DC's always had, very hit and miss kind of movies, mostly more miss than hit. But back in like 2006 or 5 or something, they released Constantine with Keanu Reeves. And I actually thought that was one of the best DC movies, besides maybe the Dark Knight trilogy, that was ever made. And I always wondered why they didn't build upon it. And then it turned out they did. They tried to make a series that, I don't even remember what network it was on, but apparently it didn't really work and kind of flopped. But then again, it didn't have anybody from the movie in it. So it's kind of like they just recast it and just did their own thing. And I guess it didn't, I don't know, really, I don't think it's out anymore. So it couldn't have been that good. But now the rumor is Constantine 2 is coming, and Keanu Reeves is on board with the same guy that was playing Lucifer from the original one too. So I can see that movie. I don't know when it's coming out, but I can see that movie being really good, especially if it has the same director.
Here's my thing. I think that it's an awesome idea. My question is, him having just done John Wick 4, if this is not the end of John Wick 4, obviously no one knows what the end of the movie is going to be, but Constantine was clean shaven. John Wick is full beard and long hair. So this is going to be interesting to see him revert back to the old haircut from the Constantine movie, unless he changes it a little bit. I don't know if he's going to be like the bearded Constantine, like he is as he does when he plays.
I'm sure he'll do whatever is necessary.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think
convincing.
I don't know if that's. Yeah, I don't think that's going to make a major difference either which way. But Rook, did you see the first one?
Of course, yeah.
See that one? Let me tell you, that was a damn good movie. It really was. I really liked that movie. So that's why, like, I felt like this sequel that's coming out, I don't even know when it's coming out, to be honest, but I think it's going to be at least a year or two. But I think this movie is long overdue. Like, if this movie came out like 5-10 years ago, they could have probably had like 5 of these by now. You know what I mean? Because like he's an exorcist or whatnot, and so you have elements of that. And he's like a demon slayer at the same time. So like it was a cool concept, and I felt like Keanu was really good for that role. I could see that working if they have the right people on board for it. So that's the problem DC's been having. I feel like a lot of the picks they chose, I feel like, are not always top notch. Like Ben Affleck as Batman. I don't know. Did that work for you? Didn't work for me. But
I mean, given how many Batmans we had before, it didn't quite work for me. Like Val Kilmer didn't work for me. George Clooney was a better Bruce Wayne than he was a Batman. I mean, I loved Michael Keaton as Batman. He was great in the Batman role, as that was my first impression of Batman.
Christian Bale was good, though.
Christian Bale was great.
Yeah, I think he was probably one of the best, maybe besides Keaton even.
Mm.
You know, I mean, but I feel you. Val Kilmer wasn't really. Yeah, that was kind of like really.
Which movie was Val Kilmer Batman?
Yeah, I think Batman Forever was Val Kilmer, Jim Carrey, and Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face.
Too many people.
Yeah, right. I think that's how it went. Because the only reason why I remember is that one was good because of Jim Carrey, and then the other one I just felt like was kind of garbage altogether, to be honest. Batman and Robin. That was kind of, I don't know. That one didn't do it for me. I thought that one was kind of weak.
Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, right.
All right.
For real. Like,
all right. The one thing about Batman 1 and Batman 2 with Michael Keaton is they had one villain, Catwoman in 2, but she's like an anti-villain. She's not quite a villain. So having a third party that's like there but not there, that was good.
Oh, well, you
3, and they put Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones and Chris O'Donnell in it. It's like I felt like too much was happening at once.
maybe, yeah, but at the same time, I don't know. It was a little cheesy. I mean, don't get me wrong, but at that time, they didn't really have these extended sagas. You just had like solo movies that came out, and it was just that, and that was it.
Originally, Harvey Dent was played by Billy D. Williams in the first 2. Actually, it was the second one. That's when they introduced the character. He was an attorney. That's who Harvey Dent becomes Two-Face. So do you think it would have been a different movie with Jim Carrey across from Billy D. Williams?
I don't know. It's hard to say because, like, I'm not going to say Tommy Lee Jones was, like, irreplaceable because I guess that he did he played an okay Two-Face, I guess. But I guess I could see your counter side because, like, how would it have been if it had been him instead? I don't know.
I think I would have rather seen Billy D. Williams in that role.
I mean, it probably might have been a little bit more suitable, but if you want to get more real with it, I think the guy that played Two-Face in the Dark Knight series was the best one. I forget his name. Too. Yeah, Aaron something his name is, but I forget. He's been in mad movies, that guy. But
he's an actor. I think he did a good job in the Dark Knight series.
Yeah, like that was another very good casting call. I thought he was very believable, more realistic Two-Face looking too. You know what I mean? Like
that was the thing about the Dark Knight series. They chose good characters to play the villains. It's just like I felt like after 3, it kind of started to flop out a bit. They just chose big names rather than finding people that would really suit the role.
Right, like Heath Ledger, I still think maybe besides Jack Nicholson is the best Joker we're ever going to see.
That's where you get you get the people that are on Jack Nicholson's side, you get the people that are on his side. It's just they're two different versions of Joker.
That's the fact. That's the truth in the end. They are. One's like the Nicholson version's the more like comical one, and he'll kill you with a smile and make jokes about it. And then you have the Ledger one, who's the psychopath. You know what I mean? So you're right. They're very different Jokers at the same time, but that's also what lets you see the difference in acting and why they're both probably the best at their role.
They both made the characters their own.
Basically, and they're their own versions.
But I think Heath Ledger just like elevated, comic book movies in a way that no movie had. Like that was a serious fucking acting job that he did in that movie.
Oh, definitely, especially for its time too.
Right, and so like it prompted, I think, even Marvel to start taking these movies more seriously.
Right, because this was before the whole MCU too, if you have to keep in mind.
Right. So I think that performance got everyone to step their game up in terms of what people expect from a comic book movie.
Right, and that's the reason why I think that, like, technically the reason why the MCU was even born was basically due to Robert Downey Jr. Because once that movie became such a huge success.
Right. He was such a great, actor in that role, that, I mean, he definitely did birth the franchise, but I'm saying, like, he wouldn't have been cast in that role had the Christian Bale Batman's not done well, and Christian Bale did a really good job, but Heath Ledger in the second one, that was just like, it was such a shock to see, such a good acting job and the drama associated with it in a comic book movie.
Right, and the funny thing about the Dark Knight series was that was the first like continuous Batman series in the theater, because like we were saying before, all the ones that predated it were just like solo ones. Some of them were cheesy, some of them weren't, but like this trilogy was the first continuity aspect with Batman involved.
You had Batman and Batman Returns.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Definitely,
there is 2 of those.
You did have Batman. George Clooney did play twice, didn't he? Or did he play only once?
think he was just the Batman and Robin one. I think that was it for him. But you're right,
Who
Keaton, I
played
guess,
in
did
Batman
too.
Forever?
Val Kilmer was in the third one. So it was Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, and you're right.
And then
That was
Christian
it.
Bale. Yeah, and then Christian Bale, and then Ben Affleck. And then this new guy, Robert Pattinson. He was in the newest one, I think.
Whoa,
They're
whoa,
making
whoa,
a.
whoa, 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 whoa.
You're
Did you
not up
just?
to date.
I'm sorry. I think I've heard this before, and it just shocks me again. Are you saying Robert Pattinson is fucking Batman?
Yeah, and the newest, the Batman, it was called.
Yep, and he's coming out with the second one.
And there is another one coming. That is correct.
Okay, no, nope. That is one movie I'm not seeing.
Yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, I saw the one that came out, and to tell you the truth, like for what DC's been putting out recently, it's probably a little bit better. But at the same time, it was just, I don't know. Like I just felt like it was still missing something, or and it was way too fucking long. That movie was like 3 fucking hours long or something too. And I'm not saying I'm against long movies. I like long movies, but not when there's like a lot of boringness in between. And that movie did have some
like the Batman vs Superman movie. That was boring as shit.
Yeah, that was kind of weak too. It definitely was. First off, I still find it weird that they pose. I mean, of course, it happened in the books, I guess, but I still find it weird that they pose those two against each other because one is so OP compared to the other one. Like, you know what I mean?
Not without kryptonite.
Yeah.
If you have kryptonite, fucking, that's a fair fight, right?
Yeah, for real.
If you really think about it, if Superman was on Batman's level, Batman would kick the shit out of him because he's just trained better.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. But he has no abilities. You know
super strong and and super
Yeah.
fast and super this and super that. Like,
yeah, it's like he can do everything. You know,
he's perfect unless you have kryptonite.
Yeah,
All
right. You got a piece of his planet, then he's doomed. But other than that, he can do anything.
No, there's no like moral lessons in it. Just be strong. Just have super speed and X-ray vision and be able to punch through anything, and that's the lesson. Just be super strong. Just be blessed with incredible fucking strength. Whereas Batman, there's like a whole moral tale in terms of justice, and he had his family murdered, and and he's also a billionaire, and what he does with that. There's a whole aspect of Batman's story that is a lot more compelling than I'm not even fucking human. You can't kill me. Even if you manage to get a piece of my planet, which I guess kills me under this sun, because that makes sense. Even if you get a piece of my planet, and stab me in the stomach with it, or I ingest it, or whatever, however else, it almost kills him. It never actually does.
Right.
I guess you can't have too much. He could just eat as much as he wants. He could probably have kryptonite in his fucking cereal, and he still wouldn't fucking die. He'd just be really weak and get his ass kicked for a little while, long enough to make it a movie.
Right. And then it somehow magically, freeform, and it'll just cancel out.
Someone will come along and remove the kryptonite. Oh, back to being Superman.
Yep. He's back.
You're fucked.
So
it's just there's nowhere to go with that character. Just stop.
It's kind of done. It's true.
They should make the Doomsday series and end it.
Tell you the truth, if they really wanted to try to make it more interesting, that's what they should do. They should stop with how many damn movies did they put out with the same villain? There was a variety of villains this guy fought. Throw someone new, I
take it. Kevin Spacey's not going to be back, right?
I guess not, considering what happened with him. But
he's not getting invited back to the franchise.
No, he's probably long gone. Yeah, he's long gone. And then I think they did put Doomsday in one, and they fucked it all up. Dude looked like a cave troll from the Lord of the Rings, and even the formation of how that character was made, they fucked that up in the story too. In the movie rather, because it was made up of DNA from Zod and somebody else. So they created a Doomsday somehow by using Zod's DNA and someone else. And I don't know, it just seems so fucking dumb. And that's not who Doomsday even was. So they just screwed that character royally now. But I guess for the last review, for upcoming movies that are coming out is the long-awaited. Now, of course, we have another year for this, and we may have talked briefly about this in a prior episode. I don't really recall, but we might have. But my spirit animal, Deadpool 3, I can tell you already that no matter what, I will definitely be seeing that movie in the theater.
Given who is basically, I mean, because Ryan Reynolds has a lot of part of the producing too, right?
Yeah,
more than just the actor.
Yeah, I think they're letting him really kind of run the show, I think, here too. And the movie will be rated R, so I feel like it will be done correctly.
Yeah, this is going to be good. I can't wait for this.
From the rumors I'm hearing about it, I'm hearing that not only is obviously Ryan Reynolds going to be in it, clearly, but the person that was Domino, she's coming back. I'm hearing rumors that Patrick Stewart as Xavier might be in it. And I was also hearing that Ian McKellen's Magneto might even be in it. And I heard that Rogue might be in it. And they're all from like the earlier X-Men movies from the early 2000s. Seems like he's pulling a lot from that and putting it into this. So that's going to make it even more interesting, I think. Because if you saw the first two, there was a lot of jokes he made about like, like he'd knock on the mansion, the X-Men mansion doors or whatever, and only like, Colossus would answer it. And he'd be like, wow, for like such a big ass building. He's like, I guess the studio couldn't afford to put another X-Men in this movie, huh? Like, yeah, so it was pretty, like he threw a lot of shit like that in there. And I can see all that and more coming for this new one. So I'm pretty hyped to see this third one. I think it's going to be probably one of the best ones, to be honest. Of course,
Wolverine going to.
Yeah, of course. Right. I meant to say that, and then I got on a tangent. Wolverine's going to fucking be in it, too. He actually got Hugh Jackman to come back. So that's major, because, like, he was, for a while, he was not letting up. He was pretty much putting his foot down, saying he was finished. And God bless Ryan Reynolds. I don't know how he did it, but he managed to talk him into it. And I don't think he's just doing this one movie, too. I think you might see him cameo and pop up in the future, too. Like, I don't know if this is, like, a one and done for him, either. This is a highly anticipated film, so like I don't think he's going to turn his back on it.
I hope he doesn't, because he does such a great job of Wolverine, and he still's got a few more years he can squeeze out as the character.
Oh yeah, definitely. Maybe even more, to be honest.
To be honest, the training regimen you go through to look like Wolverine is probably hell, but we love you for it, man. Keep doing it.
Right. Well, I'm sure he's getting paid handsomely too. So like, I would do the same if I was him. You know what I mean? But,
all I have to do is train and look fit, and you're going to pay me to be in a movie? Yeah, sign me up.
Right. But like, the first two were just the best part about Deadpool in general is like he's the first. Like, I guess it is Marvel related, obviously, but he's the first comic book character that they turn into a movie. Where one, he knows he's in the comics, so there's a lot of like fourth wall breaking, and that's always been his thing. And there's like such a dark humor to it with a lot of comedy that like all the other movies, whether you include DC and everything else, like they don't have. You know what I mean? So it really brings something new to the table with the same kind of, comic aspect and superhero aspect as the rest. But it brings so much more, and it's definitely more on like a mature level. So, Rook, I remember we did an episode a couple weeks back with the series, like Daredevil and stuff. This movie right here is definitely more on the lines of, well, you saw the first one, right?
The first
Deadpool,
yes.
Yeah, so like you already seen just from seeing that alone, related for mature audience and. Definitely it's rated R, you know what I mean? So once they said they were keeping the R rating, there's almost no denying that this movie is going to be bad. Like I think it's going to be a grand slam when it drops. You know what I mean? And you definitely got to watch that second one. I know it's on your list, but you never got to it yet.
I will.
Yeah, like that.
That's on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah, actually it is. It should be on there.
Right. Well, you know what? We'll watch it this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend? There you go. Trust me.
I'll have to watch the first one over, but...
Yeah, I guess you could do that too, but realistically too,
make it a marathon.
Just like the rest, make sure you watch all like after the credits, because the movie itself is phenomenal, but the last like 15, 20 minutes is one of the funniest parts to a movie I think I've ever seen. Like it's fucking hilarious. It really is.
Wow.
Like, I don't see anybody playing that role but him too. Like, he owns that role like Robert Downey owns Iron Man. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
yeah, I can't see anybody playing that role but him. And that's our show for this week, everyone. Strange Planet will have new episodes on YouTube every Friday. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.